Adriel with the Hunting Gear Guy. I wanted to do a quick video to kind of show what I do when I'm prepping to take people out to the range. I think it's important to bring new shooters in and get more people understanding what shooting's all about and understand kind of why we like it and why it's fun. Now the first thing I start off with, you'll notice I don't have any guns on the table right now, is actually just preparation. I like to let people know kind of what kind of clothing to wear, depending if it's going to be outdoor or indoor. Some people might be worried about dress code or something silly like that. How long we'll be expected to be at the range. Some people might think it might be like an hour thing, right? When typically when I'm bringing people out, it can take up to 4 hours. I also let people whether they should bring water or some sort of snacks or something out to the range. 4 hours is pretty long to go without any food, so I definitely recommend bringing out some snacks out there. And then kind of a little bit about what to expect for range etiquette and what they're going to see and what they can expect out there. I'll also take this time to just find out if they've got safety glasses or earplugs or any kind of special needs, or if I can cover it all right. Like I've got some really nice safety glasses that I use for myself. I kind of just hoard these. And then any of my range visitors, you know, I'm kind of a cheapskate, so they get these $2 kind of plain old clear but functional safety glasses that'll do just fine. Some people in the trades might have their own safety glasses that they can bring in. That's just fine. One of the other things I'll address as well, especially if I've got lady shooters or shooters of small stature, is just what kind of recoil and what kind of guns we're going to be shooting. Some people don't want to shoot because they think it's going to be loud or think that the kick's going to be bad or something like that. So I might even send them an email with some images of the guns we're shooting and the bullets as well. Because a lot of people look at the M16 or the AR-15 and think, holy, that's going to kick my butt. But then you show them the differences between something like a 22, say, hey, we're going to start out with these. They're fun, they're not that bad, there's no kick. Next we'll be moving up to the AR-15. Hey, it's still not that big. This is a hunting round and this is a 12 gauge round. And we don't have to get up to the 12 gauge if you don't want to. So keep in mind that my MO when I'm doing these is that I want people to have fun, I want people to enjoy it, and I want them to understand why we do this and maybe even get some new people into the sport. Alright, I've got all the snacks put away. This next piece that I do, this is typically as people have gotten to my house is where I'll usually start it. The reason why I start these at my house is that it's nice and quiet, people can grab a coffee or water or whatever, and we can really take the time necessary to go through a couple of safety issues and talk. Like one of the things that really confuses people is about all the different mechanisms that are involved in rifles, and this is the time when we can actually sit down and try them out without looking stupid at a range or scaring the guy in the lane over because we're muzzle sweeping or doing something else stupid. So what I like to do with my first briefing stage is kind of go over safety. Here I'm using the ACTS system, but I mean there's plenty of other good systems out there. And ACTS just starts with a CTS. So A is just assume that every firearm's loaded, so whenever someone hands you a gun, you should manually check to make sure that it's not loaded, or at least see that the ejection port's open. This is also where I'll explain some of the different mechanisms involved in a rifle. And I'll usually start with a bolt action just because they're simple. It's really easy to show the chamber and kind of how that works. So I'll show that this one was loaded. I usually start with one that's kind of loaded just to kind of prove that point and show kind of what it looks like down in the chamber, and show people that the bullet's basically kind of just sitting in here ready to be fired, and that's when it's dangerous. So that first part, just assume that every firearm's loaded. Make sure check to see that there is no bullet inside the chamber. The next piece of ACTS is control the muzzle direction at all times. And since we're we're typically at an outdoor range. What I just tell my guys and my girls that are going with me is just to keep the muzzle pointed down range at always. It should feel like there's a magnet on the end of the muzzle that's keeping it aimed down range at all times, and that's going to keep them from turning around or doing anything else silly. The next piece, and this is the one that that your guests are going to get tripped up on the most, is to control your trigger finger. Must be kept off the trigger until you're ready to fire. You're going to have people who want to put their trigger finger. I mean, the way the guns are designed, they're designed so that they're comfortable with your trigger on the finger. There is no like resting spot up here for your trigger finger. It's supposed to be in there. So that's the reason why people will kind of go back to that way. So we gotta really hammer that in and just show them, okay, when our hands on the grip, just keep that index finger straight and keep it up nice and high and keep it off that trigger finger, and show them that when you're in, say, like a 3-point position, when your elbows are down here, and kind of show them how this goes, because this is how they're going to be shooting off of a bench. That trigger finger should be here until they're absolutely ready to fire. They're nice and steady on target, and then that finger goes down and they fire. A couple of things I don't teach my guests. I don't teach them to use the manual safety on these rifles, and the reason why is I prefer to like, I can't check to make sure that all the safeties are on or off. I'm checking to make sure that the gun is unloaded and there's no ammo in it. And that's all I'm checking for when I'm dealing with a group of people. I can't be bothered with safeties, and really this is a more sure way to understand that the rifle is clear and good to go. The piece after this, I'll actually get them started. I'll kind of do a show and tell. I'll unpack all the rifles, and again, this isn't a point where I'm going to have any live ammo out. It's still just going to be dummy rounds, but as I unpack each different rifle, what I'm going to be showing is just a couple of the basics. Those basics will be loading, unloading, and kind of what that's like. I kind of want this to be this show and tell stage to be where people are actually like trying out the bolt, feeling what that feels like to rock the action back and forth, and feeling them out, kind of understanding a little bit more about the mechanism. And a good piece of that to make it a little bit more tactile is if you can get some dummy rounds, make sure to let everyone know these purple ones or whatever color you're using are dummy rounds. You can use them in the gun and you can pull a trigger on them. And it's your responsibility as the host to make sure that there is no live ammunition anywhere. And I just show them how that ammo just kind of clips in there. If I've got two, and I've got another one just over here, I'll show them how that second one goes in. And I'll show some common mistakes. You know, if you put them in wrong, they don't really stack correctly. But I'll show them how those go in, how the magazine kind of like rocks in from the back to forward. They know that it's in with a click, and what they'll be doing when they're on the range. The next stage I'll go through is dealing with live ammo. So at this point, I usually I'll take those firearms and lock them away in their cases, ready to go for the range kind of thing. So they're out of the picture, and this next piece, you might think this is kind of silly, you know, playing around with live ammo just at home, but none of these mags have been loaded yet, and I never load them before my guests arrive. And this is a really good opportunity to show people how to load mags, because this is something I want them doing at the range. And if I've got 3 people, I don't want to be showing, you know, how to load a 22 mag or something like that. So I'll actually get them to load up the 9mm mag, or load up the rifle mag, or load up the 22 mag, and just kind of show them that process, because it's, you know, as much as it's obvious to us, it's not obvious to people who are just doing this for the first time. And they do need time to see, like, okay, well, that rim there, that's the back of the bullet, and it needs to kind of go down and underneath these lips at the back. So just show them and let your guests try that out and let them get used to it. If you've got some more complex loading equipment, like I've got this Mag Lula, and let me tell you, if you guys don't have one of these, or if you don't have any like 223 loaders and you've got an AR or some other sporting rifle, man, these things are awesome. This makes quick work of loading up these mags. And keeping in mind I am in Canada, so we've only got these 5-round mags. You can tilt it back. That kind of like leaves a space for your next round. And you can load these mags very quickly. So I'll just show everyone how this stuff works. How to load the mags. We'll get all the mags loaded too. I mean, I've got a pile of AR mags, and getting those all loaded up for myself can take some time. But if I've got 3 people working on it and they're learning as they're going along, hey, you know what? That's all right. Just to show off this little piece here as well. This thing can also be used for unloading, which sounds kind of stupid, but it's, you know, it's not easy. It's not super easy, especially if you've got a sharp metal mags to unload an AR mag really fast. And this thing will rip through unloading your mags, which, you know, kind of nice. If you want to change over your ammo to something else, or just empty them for storage. Very, very easy with this Mag Lula, and it does kind of pop down a little bit tight, so you can throw it right into your bag. Now, when I'm at the range, the rifle that I'm probably going to start them on is my Marlin 795. Now, it's not the best rifle to start with. I think a bolt action 22 might be just a little bit better for simplicity's sake. But what a lot of new people really appreciate about a semi-auto 22 is that it's fast, it's fun, there's no recoil, and they get to see, like I've got a scope on this one, they get to see their hits way out there. So this is the one I'll typically start them on when I first get out to the range, and I'll just start one guest on it because there's going to be a lot of questions, and I can only really focus on one person. So we'll take that loaded mag. Keep in mind, I'm not loaded here. Chamber's clear. I'll get them going on it. A couple of non-ideal things about the Marlin 795 is just like a first rifle to teach someone with. It uses a bolt release. That's a little bit confusing. I'll leave the safety off. It is a semi-auto, so it'll get a jam once or twice if I run through 3 people, maybe like 500 rounds or something like that. So there's those things to think about, but at the same time, it's a lot of fun, and it's a great thing to start out with. No kick. Everyone's gonna love shooting one of these things. The next thing I'll move them up to is typically an AR-15. And the advantage with an AR-15 is they're a heck of a lot of fun to shoot. Again, we're in terms of recoil, we're really low, and AR-15s are really accurate. So it can be a lot of fun as a new person to hit what you're actually aiming at. So they're really going to like something like this. The big disadvantage on this one, especially because, you know, I'm starting to do a little bit more competitions with this one, is that I do have it kitted out with a bad lever. That's a little bit more complexity. There's a lot of buttons on an AR-15. There's the mag release, there's the bolt release, there's the safety, there's this charging handle in the back. So for someone who's new, this is a lot to take in. They're probably going to need to fire off a couple of mags before they get in the swing of things and start doing what they're supposed to be doing with this thing. But once they do, they're going to have a blast with it because it's fast firing, it's accurate. I've got a red dot sight on this thing. Newbies take to this thing like nothing else. It's just really easy to start with, point and click kind of thing. So they love firing with this red dot. You can get people started on IR sights. It's just another thing that they have to learn though, and keeping in mind that guns are complex machines. There's enough to learn on these things anyways, so having something simple for a sighting system isn't a bad idea. And you know, sometimes I'll take guys out to do clays. That's a lot of fun. I'll almost always take them out for pistol, just because most people want to try it. This is nothing really special, but it is a pistol, so they get to try it out. Watch your guests when they're using the pistol, because this is when you're really going to see that trigger finger potentially going on the right on the trigger when they're not ready to fire, and that's when you have to correct them, because this is where you can really run into troubles where you'll get a negligent discharge or someone doing something really stupid with the pistol. So really watch your guests when they're using them. Make sure that they're pointing it again in a safe direction. Make sure that their finger is off the trigger. Make sure they're not charging the slide in a stupid way where they're going to get their hand caught in that ejection port or something. And make sure that they have good form. Rifle form I've found to be really easy to teach people on. Rifles are built to fit the human body, whereas handguns are really a form that really needs to be taught. So pay close attention to them, kind of show them what they need to be doing. Again, there's a couple of different complexities with a pistol in terms of it locking back and putting the mag in. Where's the mag release? Is it this thing? Is it that thing? You know, there's that kind of anxiety that your guests will have when shooting a pistol as well. So take care of those. Make sure that you watch them really carefully. Make sure that they don't cover the barrel or anything like that when they're firing the pistol. Now, when it comes to post session, this is up to you. You guys can do whatever you want to with post session. What I kind of focus on. I cover legalities. Here in Canada, it is a really confusing area. So that's an area where I can talk about really my sport and some of the different challenges that are involved with it, some of the different silly things. And after firing all these different rifles and pistols, people get a sense of what's really what. They get the sense that, yeah, that AR-15 fired can fire really accurately, but that 270 bolt action hunting rifle that I fired was more accurate. It was way more powerful. Are we enacting the right laws here by limiting the AR-15 and making that restricted or not? And then you can get to the magazine capacity laws, and you can show them, hey, these things have these pins in them, and that's all that's keeping a legal gun owner from turning this thing into an illegal full capacity mag is this little pin on it. Is that going to stop any criminals or not? So you've got that time to kind of get through to people, and as well as find out if any of the people that you've taken out want to get into it as a sport or a hobby. This is our chance to increase the number of people who are out there. The way I think about it, AR-15 parts in Canada are pretty easy to find, but if I get 5 or 10 other guys who are into AR-15s, I'm going to have that local pool of people who I can draw upon for a part or for a tool on one of these things, and that network's just going to grow. So as much as possible, I want to make sure that I'm being a good advocate and a good ambassador for the sport, and that I'm getting people pumped about this, because I'm pumped about it, and I want to make sure that the people that I take out have a good time and they're safe as well.